Buddy, Mr. Spencer here. Welcome to today's arithmetic test. Okay, what you have got to do is set arithmetic questions like you would do in a normal lesson at school. You do once a week. But instead of obviously just giving you the paper, I'm going to go through some example questions of the type of things that you will see in your arithmetic test. These are not the exact same questions, of course, but ones that are very similar. And the stuff that I'll be going through now, those techniques, the way that you can solve these questions, are the way that you can solve your questions as well. Okay. So starting off, as you can see here, we will have some addition questions in our arithmetic test. So looking back, the best way that I recommend that you could solve an addition question would be to use the column method. Okay. Obviously, we remember that in the column method, you set your work out like this. Okay, and we'd always start with the ones column before moving on across to the left. Okay, so obviously 1 and 0 would be 1, 2 and 0 would be 2, 7 and 0 would be 7, 6 and 1 would be 7. Okay, fairly straightforward. What you might get for some of your questions is the need for an exchange. Okay, something we haven't looked at before. But in case you forget what that looks like, listen very carefully. Okay, so obviously 2 and 9 would give us 11. We can't have 11 ones. So what we must do is we keep the 1 from 11 here, our 1, 1, and our 10 that we've made, we exchange underneath the tens column here. Okay, now we can add that 10 to the 50 and the 20, which would give us 80. 500 add 600 would give us 1,100. Okay, again we need to exchange that 1,000 into underneath the thousands column. So we keep our 100 that we've made here, and we exchange and take the 1,000 underneath the 1,000 column. 4,000 add 3,000 add another 1,000 would give us 8,000. So our answer being 8,181. Okay, so that was how I would answer those two questions there. You might also find some subtraction questions on your arithmetic test. Hint, yes you will. Okay, some of them, again, will not need an exchange. For example, on this question here, 1 take away 0 will still leave us with 1. 80, take away nothing, will leave us with 80. And 500, take away 100, will leave us 400. Okay, fairly straightforward. There might be some subtraction questions though, where you need to exchange, okay? And the process is slightly different as it would be for an addition one. 8 take away 0 will still be 8. But 1 take away 4 we cannot do. Sorry, 10 take away 40 we cannot do, because obviously 40 is larger. Therefore what we need to do, we need to exchange 100 for 10 tens. Therefore we cross out our 400 and we write a 3 above, because we've taken 1 away. We add the 10 tens to our original 10 to give us 11 tens. Okay, now we can solve this problem. So 11 tens take away 4 tens would be 7 tens, 70. And 300 take away nothing would give us 300. Okay, giving us our overall answer there of 378. Okay, fairly straightforward. If for whatever reason these are the types of questions you're getting stuck on, pause the video, pull it back, keep watching this bit over and over again. Okay. Multiplication questions, something we've been learning about this week. Okay. And the best way to break it down is by setting it out in the column method again, like this. Okay, so what we will do is we will times our ones number first, then our tens number, then we'll add them both together. Okay, so 3 times 4 will give us 12. Make sure that obviously still you are setting it out in your correct place value columns. We know that 7 times 4 is 28, therefore 70 times 4 will be 280. Then to complete our question, we will then do the 12, add the 280, okay, just like a normal column method. You can even put the plus sign in there if you want to, if that helps you out. 2 add 0 is 2. 10 add 80 is 90. 200 add nothing will give us 200. And then is your overall answer. Okay, nice and straightforward. Again, if you're getting stuck on these types of questions, come back to this part, replay it, keep going over it until you understand it. Division questions are slightly more difficult in the sense that we've not quite covered them properly yet in year 4, and there are quite a number of methods that you can use in order to help you solve these. Okay, you might want to try using sharing circles. However, when you get to bigger numbers like 69 divided by 3 and putting 69 into 3 sharing circles, it can take a while. You could try and do the inverse, so you could count up in 3s till you get to 69, and then that would be your answer. Again, that could also take a while if there are larger numbers. So here's a method that I think some of you will be aware of, and it's called the bus stop method. Okay, and it's fairly straightforward. But obviously, if it's the first time you're seeing this and you're wanting to use it, like I've said before, make sure you keep rewinding this video, okay, and keep looking at this section. So how it works is we will use the 3. We're trying to divide this number here by the 3 on the outside, okay? Now 3 divided by 6 we can do, or rather 6 divided by 3, sorry, which will give us 2. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Meaning 69 divided by 3 equals 23. Okay, 23 goes into 69 3 times. Okay. If we were dealing with fractions, something we've done before, fractions are fairly straightforward. When we are adding fractions, the denominator will never change. Okay, so if that makes it easier for you to do so straight away, we know that whatever our fraction will be, the denominator will still be 6. Therefore, we only have to add the numerators together. 2 add 3 equals 5. Therefore, my answer here will be 5, 6. A similar process for the subtraction of fractions. Okay, your denominator again will not change. So, regardless of what your numerator is, your denominator will still be 12. 10 take away 5 gives us 5. So the answer here is 5/12. Okay, fairly straightforward process there. We might get some questions where it involves decimals. We started looking at this before the holidays, so hopefully this kind of jogs your memory a little bit. You might have a question whether it be a plus or a minus, and the best strategy that I would recommend is that you break it down into a column method again. Okay, set it out including your decimal point here as almost like being its own place value column. Okay, so as we always, we start with our ones, but in this case, because our number goes below 1, we'll start with the tenths. So 9 tenths add 2 tenths would be 11 tenths. Okay, so therefore we can't have 11 tenths, we can only have 1 tenth, can't we? So 1 tenth will go here. To place my decimal point in so I don't forget it, I'm going to carry over my 10 tenths, or my 1, over underneath the ones column. 2 add 0 add 1 gives me 3. Okay, fairly straightforward there. Similar process for your takeaway. So 4.93 take away 0.04. Okay, 3 take away 4, although we cannot do that. As we're looking back, this will require an exchange. So we would take from the tenths column, so we'll have 8 tenths now. We're going to put 10 100ths in here. Okay, give us 13. So 13 take away 4 is 9. 8 take away 0 is 8. Decimal point still goes there. 4 take away 0 is 4. Okay, so it's still a fairly straightforward process once you set it out right. It's just like any other column addition or subtraction method. Okay, do not the decimal points confuse you. And then we might get a question where it refers to fractions of amounts. Okay, now this is where you are looking at your whole amount and you're trying to find a fraction of it. Okay, for example, 1/4 of 36. When you are faced with a question like this, the first thing that you need to do, whether you show it in your working out or in your head, is you need to divide your whole number, 36 in this case, by your denominator. So 36 divided by 4. Okay, if it helps, you can obviously jot that down at the side. So 36 divided by 4, which we know gives us 9. Now, the numerator tells us how many lots of this number we need. And in this question, we're looking for 1. So therefore, 1/4 of 36 is 9. Okay, fairly straightforward. The only different thing about this question to the right here, 2/5 of 100, is the numerator. Okay, so same process again. We will divide our whole number by our denominator. So it'll be 100 divided by 5, which we should all hopefully know in year 4 now has been 20. Okay, and now because our numerator is 2, all we need to do then is times 20 by the 2. Okay, to then tell us what the amount, the fraction of the amount will be. So 20 times by 2 will equal 40. Remember, when you're timesing by 2, you are simply doubling that number. Okay. And the last set of questions that you might face, hint you probably will, is dividing by 10 and or dividing by 100. Okay. Now, this is obviously what I've done here is the place value positions for these numbers, so you can understand and you can see what happens when you move them. Okay, so for example, 31 divided by 10. In that number 31, we obviously have 3 tens and we have 1 1. Okay, fairly straightforward. Now, when we are dividing by 10, what we are doing is we are moving one place value column to the right. Okay, so we're moving it in this direction here. In fact, I'm going to even draw an arrow just to show you. One place value place to the right, going this way. Okay, put that there for later. So we move our ones column first, so we can't leave it in decimal point because it's not a place value column. So we drop it into the tens. Okay, and our tens we drop into the ones. Now the only thing missing, just to make this a real place value answer, so that we've got all the necessary things in there, just bear with me, is our decimal point to complete our answer there. Okay, so our answer will be 3.1. Okay, because you moved both of your place value digits one place to the right. Now the same thing happens over here for 31 divided by 100. The only difference is that this time we are moving 2 places to the right. Okay, secret hint to help you moving forward, the amount of zeros that are in that number is the amount of place value columns that you are moving. Okay, so for example then, we need to put 31 back here, so we have 3 tens and 1 1. Okay, pretty straightforward. I'm going to drop my decimal point in before I forget. Okay, there we are. So 31 divided by 100, as I mentioned, because we're divided by 100, we are moving each place value digit 2 columns. Okay, so we're going to go 1 2. The same will happen for the 3. We're going to do 2 place value columns again. 1, oops, when it comes with me, 1 2. Okay, so in this case we can't start with 0.01. Okay, because we no longer have any ones, tens, or hundreds, or a higher number, we need to make sure that we are adding in the 0 here. Okay, so because the number has moved below 0, we need that as our ones number, as our placeholder. Okay, so our answer here will be 0.31. Okay, that's it then from me for today. All those types of questions you're probably going to get at least one example of in your arithmetic test. Okay, so use this video, stop it, pause it as many times as you need to help you go through how to solve and break down those questions. Okay, it's entirely up to you. You can go at your own speed. Okay, obviously on your arithmetic test, if you are printing it out, use the squares to show you're working out, or even if you're writing on a piece of paper at home or in your book, show you're working out. Okay, that way you can see exactly how you are solving a problem, and it makes it much easier for you to be able to look back and understand where you might have gone wrong if you have done. Okay, so that'll be my piece of advice for you. Good luck, I'm sure you'll smash it, and I look forward to seeing your answers. Thank you.